welcome to the Game Show Show. Thank you all so much for joining us here today as we get started here with the evening. Let's get into it right away. Tonight's subject we're going to be talking about is returning champions. Yes, and whether or not they're good things or bad, or whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing. And to me, I am all in favor of returning champions. Absolutely. Grab all the cash you possibly can. I mean, that's kind of what I like about game shows, you have these returning champions each day getting more and more money. I mean, who doesn't like that? I mean, honestly, let's be honest. However, though, there are some notable reasons why you should not have any returning champions on game shows. We're going to get into that here as well. But we're going to start out with some game show news of the week. Not really nothing too new. We had season finales this week of The Floor and The Masked Singer, although The Masked Singer's not really a game show. So basically, we had the finale of The Floor. That was really the only piece of game show news we got this week. The Great Christmas Light Fight continued, although I kind of class that under reality TV, to be honest with you. So yeah, I don't know why. I just do. So yeah, hopefully y'all don't come after me too much for that. But that's really the only game show thing that happened this week, unfortunately. Darn. No. But let's get into tonight's topic of returning champions. Now, the first instance I was able to find of returning champions ever on a game show was when Winner Take All was on. It was hosted by Bill Cullen back in 1952. Yes, Winner Take All. Let me look it up because I have the article here. The winner takes it all. The loser standing small. Yeah, Winner Take All. That was the first game show that had returning champions to it. And pretty much after that, it seemed every single game show had some sort of returning champion type format, at least in the 50s. Especially, with daytime shows. And that's kind of really all daytime shows since the 50s. And, well, I guess up until network game shows started disappearing from the networks in the early 90s. Pretty much every single one had a returning champion on the next day or whatever, stuff like that. I can't really think of a notable one. I can't really think of one where there wasn't a returning champion. I mean, networks back then would basically what would happen is that, they would give you a limit as to how much you could win, and you could actually appear as many times as you could until you got to that. CBS, it was always 25,000. For ABC, it was 25,000, but I think I saw on a couple of shows they had it lifted to 35,000. There's one I'm thinking of right now. It's called The Better Sex. Yeah, teams stayed on the show until they accrued at least $20,000. I did notice that too. Some shows, like on ABC, though, had like $20,000 limits. I think it started to get increased. Like it started out at 20,000, then it was 25,000, and then it was like 30,000. So, yeah, and like I said, I even saw a $35,000 thing too. Yeah, at least $20,000 teams stayed and played until they lost twice. I already said that. And then it increased to $30,000. So, yeah, I was kind of right in that respects. But, I find it kind of interesting that, you have caps on all your prizes so that, maybe they don't go overboard with the prize budget. And personally, I'm okay with that. If you want to keep your budget and stuff and not, lose all of your money like that. I mean, it's understandable. I can definitely understand that. In fact, from what it looks like, nothing's shooting at the Prospect Studios. Anyway, and then I think once Oh yeah, Price is Right. Duh. What am I thinking? I was kind of thinking about game shows that don't really have returning champions. Price is Right. Duh. Although it's kind of difficult for unless you got like 300 people who have won on the show before. Like, and you would probably have to do it with like the showcases, like people who actually won showcases and not just, their regular pricing games. Because everybody who gets up on stage on The Price is Right is technically a winner anyway, because, you get the one bid prize and then you play a game, then you get to spin the wheel, potentially go to the showcase, potentially win a lot more then. So, there. Although I'm sure you could probably do something like that. They should have like a fan favorite contestants type episode. I think they haven't they done that? I don't remember. But yeah. I believe so. Don't quote me on that. But yeah. Yeah. And now, like I said, once daytime shows started becoming daytime game shows, except for like The Price is Right and stuff, began coming extinct in the in the early 90s. Then and game shows were big on cable and stuff like that. There weren't really any returning champions for those shows. I mean, even on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, they didn't really have a returning. They didn't have. I mean, they had returning champions because John Carpenter was on there twice. Didn't get to the million the second time, but he still got $250,000, so that's better than nothing, right? But there we go. There's most of my hair. So yeah, I mean, 21 though they did have returning champions. Winning Lines did not, although that format's kind of impossible to have a returning champion. But yeah, I think as we got into the 2000s, and stuff like that, there still wasn't really any returning champions. And now the only returning champions you see are on like Jeopardy, or if you watch daytime television and you see Pictionary, Person, Place, or Thing. Or, well, I guess not Pictionary, but 25 words or less, Person, Place, or Thing. Although shows really aren't categorized by daytime and nighttime syndication anymore. They pretty much air whenever. Like, I've seen TV schedules from across the country, and Pictionary could be on at 11 a.m. in one market, 7 p.m. in another market, or 2 in the morning in another market. I mean, it's all random now, which is how syndication always really was. But, you would have specific shows catering in the daytime, specific shows during the nighttime. For example, like the trash TV shows in the early 90s to mid 90s, which not all of them were trash, but a couple were, I'll just say that. But, yeah, because I hate the exploitation of people. I mean, Jerry Springer. But, in like exploiting people who are like maybe different than the average person. Don't like that. Although shows like Sally, I think, did do some good. So that's definitely good. Maybe not, towards the end of her show, but, I think they definitely did some good. Okay, this is the game show, not talk show. So let's keep going. But yeah, I think there are a couple of shows and a couple of formats that just would not really work with returning champions. I think you could maybe on the new version of Pressure Luck, you can maybe try and have returning champions because they've had returning losers. So yeah, and I guess they've already have done a returning champion special when they had contestants from the 80s come on, and Theo won like a crap ton of cash just in the main game alone. So yeah, I think that was. You could probably do a returning champions of Pressure Luck now. In fact, a lot of the game shows you see in prime time, you could probably have returning champions for. I don't think you could have. Yeah, no, you probably couldn't do it with the weakest link. You could, but yeah, I'm not sure how that would work unless all 8 are returning winners. Like they've done several times before. Let's see. The Chase, maybe. Yeah, I don't know how you could pull it off with the chase. Maybe if, like, the day beforehand, there was only one chaser in the final chase, and then, you got to bring him back. Like, you get what I mean? Yeah, I'm not sure how that would really work, but it's an interesting little thing to think about here. Let's see what like I mentioned, Winning Lines. I don't think you could really have a returning champions on Winning Lines. I mean, you could, but you know, you probably wouldn't even get a mention in the episode if you did. So yeah, Winning Lines. Let's see what shows like on right now. Could I Can See Your Voice. I think you could probably have returning champions for that. Name That Tune. I'm surprised because all other versions of Name That Tune have had returning champions. Uh, let's see. Name That Tune. Let me just take a look at the TV schedule for this year in particular. Let's see. $100,000 Pyramid, you could definitely do returning champions for on ABC. You could definitely do that. Let's see here. Price is Right at, yeah, no, that wouldn't really work. I mean, if Celebrity Jeopardy didn't have the tournament format, you could definitely do returning champions for that. Raid the Cage, you probably could have returning champions for if a whole game didn't last the whole episode, and maybe you had like two 30-minute shows instead of one whole hour long show. You could get away with it, I'm sure, with Hollywood Squares too. Well, maybe the new version. I don't know. We'll see when that premieres. But yeah, I think if Celebrity Jeopardy didn't have the tournament format, you could definitely do returning champions for that. I think that's almost guaranteed. So, yeah. Yeah. I think that's just about it for this edition of the Game Show. Thank you all so much for watching. So, moral of of this episode is that returning champions are good, although specific shows shouldn't probably in specific formats really don't work for returning champions. I know, so unfortunate, but hey, that's just how it works sometimes, I think what do I want to say? I think returning champions is good. However, though, and this was a point that was made by My Prize Garage when he did his video on returning champions. I think what he could do, or what they could do, is that it could bolster a show's ratings, or it could hurt them, just depending on who the contestant is. And certain shows, you could tape them. You could tape them in a certain order and then air them out of order. I personally don't like when they do that. I mean, I'm okay with if they do that, but they all have to air in the same year. I don't like how The Chase a couple of years ago kept flipping back and forth between series. Nuh-uh, absolutely not. With how Pressure Luck did with season 2, they taped 13 for season 2, and they only aired like 9, and they aired like in 2 different parts of the month. They aired like 5 episodes over the summer and then 4 more during the fall. Like, no. I mean, that's okay, but you got to air those other 4 episodes at some point too during the year as well. So I think I'm okay with you taping them out of order, just as long as you keep them on the same year. And then I think there was a season 5. Yeah, there was a season 4 episode that leaked into season 5, I believe. Or was it season 3 into season 4? No, it was season 4. An episode from season 4 got leaked into season 5. So, yeah. And now with, season 6, they're continuing season 6 sometime. It'll probably, honest to God, probably be next summer. So, yeah, but that's just because, ABC, because they've got now both the Stanley Cup finals and the NBA finals, although they won't have them this next year because TNT, I guess all the Turner networks have the Stanley Cup the Stanley Cup finals this year, so that probably won't be as big of an issue. Because, you won't be airing something new every single night, pretty much, So, yeah, I think that, yeah, because they start the seasons in July, and I find that extremely annoying. But what can I do about it? I'm not an ABC executive who determines what the schedule is. So yeah, although I sometimes would like to be, because uh, I guess I could at like one point, during a TV season, you could have like 3 game shows on in the same time, like competition wise, and I don't like that because I like all those shows. So yeah. Anyway, we kind of got off topic there, but that's the way I am sometimes. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. We will be back at 6:46 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:46 p.m. for the $1 Million Drop live. So I will see you for that in half an hour. Peace.